Hi, my little babies. Welcome back to another episode of What the Smut Book Reviews. What the Smut Book Reviews. Book review. Hi, my name is Candace. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode. In today's video, why am I already tired? I haven't done anything except for just sit here running my mouth. And I'm already exhausted. Please ignore the situation with my hair. It's in a scrunchie. In today's video, kids, we are going to be going back to we're going to be ending our Fiona Cole era. Well, maybe not ending our Fiona Cole era, but ending our Voyeur era. In today's video, we are going to be reviewing this book. It's called Teacher by Fiona Cole, and it is the last book in her Voyeur series, as far as I know. Now, I have seen covers for other books that she puts up on Instagram that have like the same motif, if you want to, for lack of a better word, that are like, have like that black and white cover with like just the splash of color on like the title. I thought that was synonymous with the Voyeur series. So now I'm wondering, are there more books in this series? Or is it like a spin-off series? Because if there is, I'm coming for you, bitch. I'm coming for you. Okay, so this book and all the books in this series are free to read with Kindle Unlimited. This is book 6. Yes, okay. This is book 6 in the series. If you want to purchase this book for your Kindle, you can get it for the price of $4.99. If you want the trade paperback for this book, it is $19.99. I feel like that's a little bit pricey. I don't think that they've always been like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, or don't, because I prefer it if you didn't. But if I'm not mistaken, at least some of these books were like at one time $14.99 or like hovering thereabouts. And I don't know what happened. Was it like a sale? I don't know. But $19.99 is on the higher end of trade paperback cost, in my opinion, that I've seen. But obviously, it's the size of a hardcover without being a hardcover. And so, at the end of the day, these authors can charge whatever they want. Because if your book is good, I'm going to spend my money. I'm going to get it, okay? And Daniel's story, which is the one we're here to review today, was one of my favorites from the series. Daniel. Uncle Daniel. Now, you know I don't do daddy trope, right? But give me a good uncle. No, I will not call him uncle in bedroom, but Uncle Daniel. So this book allegedly has 278 pages. I don't have the physical book with me here yet. I've ordered it, but it hasn't come. So I'll just have to take Amazon's word for it, I guess. Now, this book is also available in audio. I listened to the audio. The audio is narrated by Ava Erickson and Brian Polino. I don't think that I have listened to many audiobooks narrated by Brian Polino. I know I recognize Ava Erickson's voice and her name, but Brian Polino, I don't think so. I liked his voice a lot. I liked it a lot. If I'm not mistaken, he's the same guy who voiced Kent in the last book. Maybe. Don't quote me. Shut up. Just don't. You know I fuck stuff up all the time. So just roll with it. Okay? Now, here's what I wrote down for the individual characteristics for these two main characters. The two main characters for this book, by the way, are Hannah and obviously Daniel. I don't know why I had to look at my notes for that. Candace, if you just let your brain kick in for 5 seconds. We're taking it old school. The way that I started my channel 2 years ago? Oh God. Anyway, I'm gonna read you guys the blurb for the book and then I'll read my notes, which I stopped taking. As I have done in my last several Fiona books, I got up to a certain point in the audiobook where I was just like, and so I could not be bothered to stop to write down the notes of what the fuck was going on. So I recorded up to a certain point and then I just stopped. I never came back to write down anything. So we're gonna see if I remember literally anything about this book. I mean, I remember it was good. That's really all you need to know, right? The blurb will help us. Maybe jog some like memories loose, we'll see. Okay, I promised her that I'd live my best life once I was free. It was that promise that led me to Voyeur, to Daniel. What better place to conquer my fear of intimacy than a club that allows you to watch? Who better to help me than the owner himself? On night one, my past comes roaring back, urging me to run like I always had before. This time, I ran into his arms. With my fear still clinging to my skin, he brushed it away and made his own promise. I'll teach you. His promise turns to friendship. A friendship turns to passion. We didn't know what to do with that passion, between the not-so-broken girl and the man who promised to never love again. Daniel and I had started because of a promise, and I hoped that we wouldn't end because of one too. Teacher is Daniel and Hannah. Okay, this is a note from the author. Teacher is Daniel and Hannah's steamy, tension-filled, friends to lovers standalone romance. The last book in the best-selling Voyeur series. Are you ready to watch? Okay. All right. So obviously, according to that, this is the last book in the Voyeur series. So I don't know what those other books are. They have similar covers, but I'm gonna look into it because I need to know. Now, the two main characters for this book are Hannah and Daniel. I will read you guys the characteristics that I wrote down, or like the, what would you call them? Like the important facts about each character. Okay. I wrote, for Hannah, I wrote sex traffic survivor. Twin died. Takes ballet classes for her. Can't stand to be touched. Okay. For Daniel, I wrote owner, voyeur, and voy, which is the bar that is like a side hustle. I don't know what you would call it. Perpetual bachelor. High school / college girlfriend Sabrina died. Okay. So, as you can see, both of our characters have trauma, right? Massive trigger warnings on this book. If you are easily triggered by character death, if you're easily triggered by the topic of sex trafficking or sexual assault, this book will not be for you. If you're not easily triggered by those things, then let's go on, because the overall read was worth it. Even if it's a little bit, even if there are some parts of it that are a little bit uncomfortable. Here's what I wrote for my notes. Book opens to Hannah and Sophia being held captive. Sophia dies. Present day. Hannah is working but antisocial. Lives with PTSD and survivor's guilt. Agrees to go to Voyeur with Karina, who you will remember from a previous book. Or books, because she wasn't in at least 2 of them. Goes into room to watch and freaks out. Daniel runs into her. Takes her to office for a drink. Offers to help her. Goes in with her for support. Has passed with girlfriend from high school / college that died. And then in parentheses, I wrote self-harm, ? If I'm not mistaken, she committed suicide. So I guess that would be another trigger warning. I didn't say that at the beginning. But honestly, I forget a lot of stuff. So you can't be mad at me. Don't be mad. Okay. He decides to try to help her. Wants to teach her self-defense. They start to hang out. He offers to teach her how to flirt and be intimate, claiming as friends, but both developing feelings. He tells her about how Sabrina always wanted them to travel. She offers to go with him to try to help him move on too. First, they go to the mountains. She asks him to have sex with her. They do. I don't know why I had to specify, but they do. They do have sex. Then he takes her to the beach. They get into an argument when he suggests that she speak her story to a crowd. He freaks out when she locks herself in the bathroom, thinks she's going to commit suicide. Slowly, she falls for him. They go back home, but continue to sleep together. She tells him she loves him. They argue, and he accidentally calls her Sabrina. Boy, you fucked up. She shuts him out. He starts being snappish. Kent tells him to go after her, makes him admit he loves her, and helps him see Sabrina's situation clearly. He goes after her, finds her at Haven, telling a small group what happened to her. He apologizes and explains his survivor's guilt, tells her he loves her. Epilogue. Oh no, I guess I did write down all the notes for this book. Disregard everything I said before. Okay. Epilogue. Kent and Olivia get married. Eeeek proposes to Alex. So it's like tying up loose ends within the series. Not so much focusing on them, but on everybody as a whole. Okay, so the end. That's all the notes I took. Because I was so hyper-focused on the story that I just was like, I'm going to write down the bare minimum. Like, okay. Now, so Hannah is very mentally messed up. She had a twin sister, Sophia. They went on vacation with their family, and both the girls were kidnapped. They were then held captive as part of like a sex trafficking ring. They were sexually assaulted repeatedly, and Sophia died literally hours before they were rescued by their brother Eeeek. So she has heavy survivor's guilt. She also has PTSD. She suffered from nightmares. She's in therapy, or she was, which has helped her get over the nightmare portion for the most part, but she still has an issue being intimate with men. She, just like Callum in book 1, she doesn't like to be touched. It makes her cringe. She can't be placed in any type of sexual situation without freaking out. So just like what my notes said, when Karina takes her to Voyeur to watch a scene, she has like a panic attack and she runs out of the room, where she runs into Daniel, and Daniel sees how traumatized she is, and he likens her to his ex-girlfriend, Sabrina, who, as the book goes along, it becomes very apparent that she had psychological issues, whether it be bipolar or schizophrenia or something. She had some disorder that was unmedicated, and it really messed him up when they had a fight, and she took it to the extreme and she ended up committing suicide. He goes into the relationship with Hannah, even though there was a clear attraction, even in previous books, between the two of them. He goes into the relationship wanting to help heal her. And he thinks that he can do that by teaching her how to flirt, how to be intimate with men, and how to stomach, like, the touch of another person, which she does with him. So when he opens up to her about Sabrina's death, or about being with an ex-girlfriend, she thinks that Sabrina left, that they broke up, that it was a traumatic breakup for him. She doesn't realize at the time that Sabrina killed herself. He tells her how, obviously, like how Sabrina wanted them to travel the world and go to places, and she wants to help him too. She can tell that he's also haunted by his past. And so she says, well, we can travel together. She has to get around Eeeek, her brother, who is hella overprotective, obviously with good reason. He has his own type of guilt over what happened to her and Sophia. But she does. And she basically tells him, I'm a fucking adult. I'm going to do what I want. Daniel will be with me. He's helping me. Eeeek doesn't clue in at the beginning that he's helping her in a sexual way. He thinks that Daniel's helping her in like we're friends and I talk to him type way. She offers to go on these trips with him, and they do. They pack their bags and they go to they rent a cabin in the woods, in the mountains, and they just stay there for a couple days. While they're there, she asks him to have sex with her. Basically like, we've touched and I've been okay with it. I think you're the one that can ease me into this situation, obviously. And he does, and they do. Dumb. And she's able to be intimate with him. And while they're there, he broaches the subject of her like talking to a support group or something about the trauma that she suffered. And she tells him repeatedly she doesn't want to do that. The idea of getting up in front of a crowd and talking about what happened to her is like reliving what happened to her. And they fight about it. And she goes inside. She leaves him like on the side of like the balcony or the deck or whatever. And she goes inside and to the bathroom and she closes the door. He has a massive panic attack. Like he goes into full on, I'm going to kick the door down mode because I don't know if you're in there trying to harm yourself. It's very heartbreaking, that scene. I felt so bad for Daniel. But he gets in there and she's fine. And she sees how like fucked up he is. And she feels bad for him as well. And her previous anger is forgotten. He apologizes and they move on. When they get back home, well, they go to the beach after that. When they get back home, she's not really sure where they stand. Eventually, he comes over and they pick up where they left off. And they're still hiding this from other people, like the fact that they're sleeping together. But obviously they've both caught feelings for each other. Surprise, surprise. And she tells him that she loves him. And he can't say it back. They fight. And he calls her by his ex's name. And she realizes that she thinks that everything he's done has been to atone for past sins. And maybe that's the way that it started, obviously. But since then, he's developed real feelings for her. He just can't admit them to himself. Kent helps him come to terms with his feelings for Hannah. And he goes to find her, to apologize and to explain himself because she's avoiding him. She won't return his calls. He finds her at Haven, which is like an organization that Eeeek started for survivors of human trafficking, people that they rescue in like their low-key hackery operations. They go there and they help them with like a place to live and counseling and food and right to help them get back on their feet and try and reacclimate to society. So he finds her there and she's talking to a small group, like just a handful, 4 or 5 other women. And she's telling them what happened to her. And he has like a moment where he's like, she's not Sabrina. I know she's not Sabrina. I know Sabrina had problems and what happened to her was not my fault. And he realizes that he really fucked up. And he begs her forgiveness, and she does. She forgives him. Once he explains the fact that Sabrina committed suicide and how he felt about the whole situation and how he was comparing her to Sabrina. And she forgives him, and they live happily ever after. And oh God, I loved it. I loved it so much. Now, for the rating for the book, I would give it a solid 9. 9 out of 10. I really liked this book. I think if I had to narrow it down, I would say that Voyeur, Callum's book, is my favorite. And then I also really, really loved Eeeek's book and this book. I liked the other ones just fine. They were all very good, but those were my favorites. So there we go. And yeah, I think that's it. I would highly recommend this series to other people. If you're not easily triggered by the aforementioned things, which come up several times throughout the books, yeah, I would highly recommend this series to other people. I think that it ended on a good note, and it wrapped up everything, and there were no loose ends, and it's a very good series. Now, if you enjoyed this video, if you like me and you like my channel, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. If you would like, you can follow me on social media. I am super active on Instagram. I will link them all in the description box below, and I'll put a little banner here on the screen for you guys to see. And if you're interested in purchasing some of my bookish merch or just checking out my bookish merch, I do have a Teespring shop, which I will link below in the description box and put a little thing here on the screen for you guys. And I think that's it. I love you so much. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye. Hello, is it me you're looking for? I just realized I didn't turn the fan off. Motherfucker. Hold, please. It's balls hot in this bitch. Okay. Hi, it's me, Candace, your as ever disorganized host. We're gonna ignore what's going on with my hair. I curled it, then it was annoying me, so I pulled it back and it's scrunchy. Fuck it, okay? I can't be bothered. Can't be having no dry lipstick, you know what I'm saying? Okay, let's make sure I don't have any on my teeth. You hear that? That's my fat slapping together. Okay, anyway, in a tiny little bun. In a tiny little bun at the back of my head because it was annoying me. So here we are. I know I look a mess, but at least I'm not the way I was in my last video, which was in my living room on my sofa, like a schlub. Okay? In today's video, we are going... I'm going to end his life. He's like staring at me. Just like, and what? I need the blurb, don't I? Some bitch. I just realized I don't have the blurb. And usually I would go to my other phone and my actual phone, but I'm recording on my actual phone, so it doesn't listen. It's fine. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. And now I'm back from outer space. I just came in to find you here with that sad look on your face. Okay, listen. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay. Where's my pen? I need my pen. I need my bad. That one's done. The predator is done. The predator. The predator. Okay, I did the fine print. That's done. I have so many reviews to do. I'm so behind. It's ridiculous, y'all. Anyway, I love you so much. I'll see you in my next one. Can you hear like my bones popping? I'm getting so old. Anyway, I love you. I'll see you later.